So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our navamsa video of the week. And this week we're going to be covering Saturn in the 12th house of your D9 navamsa chart. As in what happens when Saturn, Shani, in Vedic Astrology is sitting in the 12th house of your D9 navamsa chart, which is the chart of marriage, which is the chart of strength of your planets, the core of your planets, is the chart of your marriage, how things develop in the marriage, how things develop as you mature after 36th year when Saturn matures. So it's a very important chart. And as always, if you do not know if you have this particular planet in the 12th house and what your other astrological details are in the navamsa chart, birth chart, all the other divisional charts, for that, check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report, including my books, consultations, and link to my academy, Vedic Astrology Academy, where I'm currently teaching planets through nakshatras, including ascendant through nakshatras. Okay, so let's start with this video. So, what is the 12th house of navamsa? Well, the 12th house of navamsa chart represents bed pleasures, the bed pleasures of the marriage, which of course represents sexual pleasures of the marriage. It represents the sleep, the peace of sleep that you get after marriage. It represents the expenses you incur through marriage. It's all the foreign travels, foreign successes that happen in your life through marriage, but most importantly, it's the spiritual progress that an individual takes on after marriage, because sometimes spiritual progress gets stuck. Spiritual progress, accelerates immensely after marriage. So that's what, 12th house is. So here Saturn is sitting. And you got to understand about one thing about Saturn, is that Saturn is the significator of the 12th house. It kind of like rules the quality of the 12th house, which is isolation, loneliness, being in wilderness, being in a monastery, hospital, asylums, confined spaces. And Saturn represents those things. So one thing we see here is that directly after marriage, when marriage happens, within either the 6th month of the marriage or the 8th month of the marriage, you will have a big fight with your family. You will have a big obstacle coming in your life through as soon as marriage happens. You become extremely stingy. If you were spending lavishly before, you become stingy, you spend the least amount of money. And especially Saturn in the 12th house can show that a person will show themselves being poor even if they have money. So they could have a lot of money, but if Saturn is in the 12th, due to the third hand of Saturn, shows that a person will try to show their image as being poor, being like somebody who's struggling, somebody who doesn't have the opportunities in life, that other people have. Yet they would have that, they're just not going to show it. Because remember, the third hand of Saturn here impacts the 2nd house of wealth, earning, money, and the things that you value in life. The other thing we also see with Saturn in the 12th house is that person's spiritual progress actually becomes more dominating than the marriage. Like, as much as marriage, happens, but as soon as marriage happens, suddenly it triggers a person wanting to give up on things, wanting to have an isolated life. But obviously, depending upon what sign Saturn is in, this can also be a very political placement of Saturn. Like a person can manipulate things, becomes very political in nature, knows how to say, what to say, when to say, and who to say what to get favors in life. Saturn also here brings gains through spouse's family, believe it or not. One has a great reputation in spouse's family. Now, of course, this is without any aspects or without conjunction. If there is other aspect in conjunction, of course, that can hinder a lot of things. But one thing we see is that after marriage, one's sleep is stopped. Like one's sleep is disturbed. One doesn't necessarily enjoy sleep in their own home. And the only way a person attains sleep is when number one does not have any debt. Anytime a debt occurs with Saturn in the 12th, sleep gets disturbed. Number two, if you ever get a servant, okay, and if that servant is not being treated well, your sleep will be disturbed and more money will go out of your pocket. Because, like especially here too is quite normal sometimes, not so much, but in India it's like, if you don't have a bai, if you don't have somebody who comes and cleans and cooks and does the laundry, oh, you don't have your status then, right? So everybody's trying to get somebody to come and work for them. When you kind of treat that person truly like a servant, like, oh, you're a servant and I'm your master and I have more money, you don't have any money, the moment you do that, you will see your wealth go down. You actually, strangely enough, if you want the best result of the Saturn, number one, treat your servant like your master. Treat your servant like your master. Number two, always hand them a gift time to time. When you hand them a gift, meaning they need to take that gift from your hands, I'm telling you right now, if you have done this, you will know, you can comment. But anytime you give them a gift that they hold from their hands, your expenses completely go down, debts go down, and wealth comes in. Think about it. Think about this little thing. It's a very powerful statement. The other thing I also would say is that when you give something for your servants' children, when you donate things to your servants' children, you give extra money for their clothing, you give some gift of, if you know how big the child is, you get the clothes, you give them clothes on Diwali, many clothes, toys, this and that, you will see suddenly you'll be able to get a property in your life. If you have this placement in navamsa and you're trying to buy a house, and let's say you have a servant in your home, just by doing this trick you can get a home. If you don't, get a servant, treat them well, give money to their children, it activates your ability to get a home. Specifically Saturn in the 12th. Okay. So anyway, guys, this was my analysis of Saturn in the 12th house of your D9 navamsa chart. And if you're new to my channel, subscribe below so you don't miss these type of videos. And if you want to know where your Saturn is placed, all the other astrological details, for that, check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report. Otherwise, we'll see you this weekend with some special video. Probably some special video. I'm trying to make it. I got all the tools. We'll see you on the weekend. Bye-bye.